Hey there, you me and DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am the stepson of Krypton.
And I am Mantis.
Am I pointing right this
Hey, you
time?
pointed right this time.
I have to go opposite of the
Yeah.
fucking screen. And today, guys, we are discussing Fantastic Four, the first trailer. Not steps, first trailer. Okay, guys. I know a lot of people have been doing reactions. We're a little late on this just because of our normal recording day. Also, the fact that, we have full time fucking jobs. I got to stop cussing before we even get into the intro. So, before I get us in more trouble with YouTube, we're just going to go ahead and launch on into the intro. All right, guys. So we had the final or the first trailer of Fantastic Four, the first steps drop. Everybody's kind of shocking me on when they're dropping their trailers. I have no idea. We can't discern when. I will say it is interesting that I just saw from Screen Culture. Screen Culture.
Oh.
They had another trailer that released, but when you watch it, there are some things that are off, and you could tell. There's a scene from the Eternals where Arishem disappears into like the red vortexy looking thing, and all that. Well, it had that in there, but it was purple to look like Galactus. And you remember after Eternals released, people were basically subbing out Arishem for Galactus and trying to make deep fakes and shit like that. And that's what this ended up being. But we are going to actually watch the actual teaser trailer and kind of give our thoughts and do some discussion on that. So, Mantis, are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Leroy Jenkins.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Herbie, how's that sauce coming?
Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay.
I like that they have the comic book kind of look.
Is this guy
It reminds me of
Add
Fallout,
a couple
kind
cloves
of,
of
actually.
garlic.
Yes.
Not because it's not delicious. I just want to add a little bit of zip. Okay.
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking here.
Great observation.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together.
There he
As
is.
a family.
And scene. Okay. So now when I watched that, one thing I will say is if you remember, and for those of you who have followed us for a while, we do appreciate it. But when we first were talking about Fantastic Four, my thought was I was like, okay, Pedro Pascal's substantially older than Vanessa Kirby is. I was like, it's gonna look weird, like that's gonna throw me, but it doesn't look that bad there, right? Like they don't look like they're too far off in age.
No, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I don't know if maybe she just looks kind of older, just naturally, not in a bad way. I'm not saying that in a bad way at all.
She's still hot.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
It isn't as like distracting like where I was like, oh my damn, he's like, in his late 50s, something like that. I thought it was gonna look a little like we're gonna have Chris Hansen come out in the middle of the video like Mr. Fantastic.
What are you doing here? That's like...
have a seat right there for me.
I don't know.
Hey. There's a seat right around that stool right there front of
Now I will say the one thing I love I won't say love. Love's a very strong word, and I don't really feel that way about a lot of things in movies anymore. But I like the futuristic / retro, like you were saying, very Fallout type of a look. I
Mhm.
like that, right? Um, it does have a comic booky kind of a feel. Like when you see the ship they go up in, I'm like, that's something Elon would fucking
It
design.
does.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say like their pad and or the tower that he human Baxter Tower or whatever it
Did you
looks.
call it their pad?
Yeah, their pad. It's the '60s, right?
Okay, okay. I thought you were just showing your age there for a minute. I was like,
No.
I don't think we can say that
Well, I mean,
anymore.
it may not be this. Yeah, it may not be the like the '60s era. Kind of reminds me of that, but again, yeah, that whole futuristic but kind of retro, kind of put together look. Um, a lot of pastels and whatnot. Yeah, so there's a scene that, and I don't know if it's, I don't think it's Galactus. It could be Galactus, but there's like this fireballs flying down from the sky, that's like kind of yellow golden-y whatever. But when they pan back from that, and there's kids looking up at it, and the kids have all Fantastic Four like Halloween costumes on. So it's almost like, okay, if you're starting the beginning of this movie where they don't have powers, or at least maybe there's flashbacks of them getting their powers, going up, the radiation, whatnot, getting those powers. But just like uh we talked about this in Superman, the Superman film, where people are aware of superheroes in their universe. In here, people know who the Fantastic Four are. They have their merchandise. Hopefully, they're getting money from it. Unlike some of the creators of Superman decided to not really put a lot of money for giving away the rights to that
We'll get into
property.
that in the next video.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, just interesting note there, where in this universe it seems like they're, people know who they are.
Yes, and like you said, they already have the merch. They already. It seems like it's not going to be an origin story, except maybe through some flashbacks, because he's in there talking about, like, you wouldn't show the origin and then say, "Hey, last time we went up, you couldn't turn invisible." Like, that'd just be a weird thing to have if you showed the whole origin, right? So it'll probably be done in flashbacks, because again, you got a lot of shit to tell, especially since you see my man there. He's showing up right there in New York. He's right, looking down at the Statue of Liberty. Good old Galactus. Here's where I struggle, right? Okay, so and Mantis was alluding to Superman, obviously, in the movie coming up. Again, that's going to be a whole separate video, but these movies are going to be releasing within 2 weeks of each other, and you have my favorite superhero in all of comics, everything. My favorite superhero going up against a movie that has one of my favorite villains, if you want to call him that. He's a villain, but is Galactus. It's coming out of the Marvel world, not in all, like, he's nothing in comparison to, like, Darkseid and Doomsday, but in the Marvel world, he's one of my favorites. So I'm like, all these concerns people have for the Superman movie, I'm like, please don't let the Fantastic Four movie trump Superman, man. I'm like, come on, James Gunn, don't, because it looks pretty solid, right? Now,
I
go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree with you. This to me, if I'm comparing this with the Superman trailer, and this is going around on the interwebs as well as social media, people are comparing these two because they're, like you said, both going to be releasing really close together. They're both new trailers that have come out, and people are comparing them, and they're. It's not that Fantastic Four looks amazing. It's just pretty clear that people are gravitating that Fantastic Four looks better than Superman according to the trailers. So, take that as you will.
Now, there were some of those people that were complaining about Galactus, right? Because when you see him, like, he's walking kind of through the city, and again, you see him kind of look down at the Statue of Liberty, you see his shadow. He's not this Erisham sized or even Tiamat sized, being, right? Because that's, I think, what a lot of people who are like fans of the MCU and things of that nature, and that know Galactus a bit, kind of imagine him to be, is this planetary size, because he's the world ender, right? He eats planets, and this time he's not a
I,
fog.
I was gonna say, at least he's not some big storm in space.
Well,
So it could be worse.
the important thing to remember, so when Galactus actually appeared in the comics in 1968, he was actually smaller than some of the New York skyscrapers, right? So he hasn't always been portrayed. Now I know he has been portrayed as a larger than planetary size, like, and they have kind of played around with his size and saying, well, he can manipulate his size at will, things of that nature. But when he originally started, which is kind of what it looks like the theme they're going for, was that retro kind of back in the comic booky style. He was
Mhm.
about the size of a okay sized building. Like he wouldn't even be the size like the Empire State Building, right? And then, we've seen him be, I think one of his most average in the comics has been like 28, 29 feet. And then, of course, he has been world sized and things of that nature. Uh, Similar to like when you
See, maybe he
saw,
just got full.
yeah,
Maybe he's just grown.
he was just
He's
gassy,
been
man.
in
He
the
just,
gym.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but now when we saw the Celestials and Eternals, right? Arishem is the size of, he's standing outside the world. But then, we remember from Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw Esson the Searcher.
A couple of them. Yeah.
He's only the size of, he was a lot taller than those
He
people,
was
but
on the planet.
yeah.
Yeah, he was on the planet, like walking. Yeah.
And even the Celestials that were outside on Thor: Love and Thunder that were kind of guarding uh, the main chamber of Zeus there. They're not planetary size all the time. Now Celestials have been known to be in the comics that they can just manipulate their size at will, because even Arishem, he's the size of the planet there. He's standing outside the planet. He looks like he is. You know, he's also created suns and stars and mini universes and things like that, like, so they can get bigger, and maybe they're going to do Galactus the same way. I'm okay if they leave him the size he is. He's big, but he's not, he doesn't have to be world sized, because that kind of
Yeah,
becomes
there's
a little
already
bit difficult.
canon. Again, like you said, there's already canon explanations of this in the comics, as well as even the current Marvel universe of the sizes of them. So that's not a deal breaker for me at all. Not even if it wasn't, I'm just like, that's fine. Like, it's really not that big a deal to me. So
Well, and given who the Fantastic Four are, right? It's more, and you're kind of keeping it in comic booky, but a realistic realm, because you see Johnny Storm go up towards space, and then he kind of like flames out, and he falls
falls.
back to Earth.
Mhm.
Like, so if you were going to do Galactus as a planetary sized being, how would they get to him? Like,
Right.
one is a
Yeah.
rock, and the other one could just stretch really far. Like, and Johnny can't go outside the atmosphere because fire
You can't
is
breathe
not a
out there.
thing in space. There's no oxygen.
Yeah.
I know movies like to show it, like, oh, there's fire and there's engines, like fucking, and I'm like, no, that's not a thing. But um, so like it makes sense that you ground him more, right? Like keep him with like the original
Mhm.
comics where he's big, but he's not he's not picking up, he's not got the whole goddamn world in his hands, right? We're not doing that.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Yeah.
So now the screen culture trailer I saw, they talk about Galactus a little more, and they say, how do we defeat something this big or whatever? And they're like, by going to another universe or looking for the answer in another universe, kind of playing it off that they're gonna go to the 616 universe.
Erased. There's nothing you can do to stop him unless you find a gateway
A gateway to where?
to another timeline.
And then you see that purple. It basically was what happened on Eternals with Arishem, except it was purple. And so they're playing it, and that's
Okay.
what I'm saying. That trailer is
Yeah, it
sus
looks-
as fuck. It is not real.
Yeah.
It's just they're known
Interesting
for showing
concept,
things,
but-
though. Yeah, it seemed
yeah.
good. AI was doing pretty well there. It's better than anything I could make, so they're doing good. But that's not an official trailer. Whereas when you watch the official one, it's got 20 something million views right now, at least on the one
Mhm.
Marvel one. I know that it actually has more than that, but the one on YouTube there was showing like 23 million. So
Yeah, I mean, even just kind of commenting strictly on the presentation of the trailer itself, the CG looks pretty good. Because I know we've been talking CG for the last couple videos a little bit. It looks pretty good. Some of the shots, like I know the one you mentioned of him flying up and losing his, I won't say his powers, but his, he did, the flame horn kind of stops there. And but there's the
Flame
shot
off.
on a side, yeah, there's a side shot of him just like this, and you just see the Earth and the sun kind of coming over the horizon with him there, and it just looks awesome. There's some really good shots in this, and again, even the shot of you before you see actual Galactus, you see his shadow over Manhattan, and it looks awesome. It looks so cool. Like they did a great job with the trailer. At the beginning, I was a little bit, I don't really care. Ben's here trying to figure out how to make fucking Emerald Lagasse's dish or whatever with this robot. Like I could care less about that.
Well,
You
they're like,
know,
we have Sunday dinner every week at 7. Unless that means that Galactus is going to attack Sunday at 7, I don't give a fuck. Like that's in there, right?
yeah,
I don't
not
care.
in the trailer. I mean, I think and I think now that you mention it, I guess I didn't even hear her say that, but I guess the overall theme of this was they're a family and togetherness and all that, and that's fine. It's just
You don't turn your back on family. Even when they do.
in this whole trailer, it just felt weird to start out with that, and it's not. It would be more of like a little funny gag that you would want to put at the very end in between all the action shit that's going on. So, but in any event, yeah, some cool stuff in here. Who was the old guy?
Which old
Or
guy?
do we know? There's some old guy that they show. It looks like fucking Gandalf or something. There's like,
Oh, that
it's
one
about
little shot of that old guy or whatever.
yeah, it's about a minute or so in, minute and 20 seconds in. And he just, I don't know who that is or why they're showing some old guy. So if you guys know who it is, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, because I only seen it the once there. Like I'm not. I'd have to go back and break it apart. So I probably will by the time I actually edit this video, and I'll highlight it out, like in the text that nobody will read. But especially we're as far as long as we are into this already. So yeah, there'll be that in there. And I'll point that out if I can find out who. I'm sure everybody has their guesses, but that's again the first when you do those first time watches. And like that, like you're trying to watch, but we're also like recording a show, so I'm not able to just go scene by scene and pick up everything. So it's like, well, fuck. All right, I'll go back and check it out there. I will say though, I like that shot of Galactus coming over, as you were talking about, coming over the Statue of Liberty. And if you remember in the original Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer of the original 2 movies, when Galactus is the fog is passing by, it's one of the planets I can't remember offhand right now, but you see that shape, you see his head. So that exact same shape, that shadow that you saw, you see that on the planet. And then there's a very end scene when Johnny Storm's helping Silver Surfer like glide up through the smoke of Galactus, the fog, whatever you want to fucking call it. You see some kind of outline, some kind of shadow of it too. So it's hidden in there. Now, the Screen Culture trailer I did see, the one thing I will say it did add is you got to see the Silver Surfer in it. So the chick's in there.
I have seen worlds fall to him. I have seen civilizations erased.
Okay.
And you do see, because they're all talking, and it did look kind of okay, but I still think it's all fake. But you saw Silver Surfer because she got the silver boobies going on and all that and everything,
Nice.
and she's there talking to them. But again, that one that I found, because nobody else has that trailer, right? It was just Screen Culture, and I know, no offense to
It's
them,
not a
they
Marvel
do
either.
good. They do good stuff, but they do put out fake shit like on purpose. Like that's their goal. Like they do that as kind of like, I don't know if it's spoof or gags or whatever. So you can't really trust that. But again, I'm sure once we hit Super Bowl time, which is that this Sunday,
It is. Yes.
I'll be waiting to see if we get full trailers of both of those. Now, maybe not Fantastic Four. It'd be really weird to release the full trailer after you just released the teaser, but they don't know.
Yeah,
they got to
I was
keep
gonna
up with
say-
Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know, like the same week release another full trailer. That'd be. I mean, I could still see him doing it, but It'd be. Mm,
The cool thing
Yeah.
is, like, Superman released its trailer just a couple of weeks ago, and then they released this one, and the movie is going to release a couple of weeks after Superman. So it's like, okay,
I
well,
know.
we're going to stay in that same timeline because we had talked before, kind of wrapping up here. We had talked before about are they going to have to push this movie because and we had just said, so we were recording a video last week and we were just talking about, like, I don't think we've seen a trailer for it even come out yet, and then it was like 3 days later the fucking trailer
Boom.
drops, and I'm like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We just picked a bad. We always picked a bad day to record. It's like,
It's never. We need to move our day to like Tuesday or something.
or fucking Friday or a Monday, something like this Thursday stuff's just not working out too well. We just miss everything. So
As soon as we switch it, they'll release on the other day, right? Like the day after is what will happen. That's what always happens.
it's my luck. Seems to be Mantis's as well too. Let us know how your
Yeah.
luck is, and let us know,
Yeah.
how did you feel about the trailer? Are you liking the future retro Fallout-ish style where you got some cool futuristic shit, but then it also looks like it's in the 50s? Um, what do you think about Galactus thus far? Are you excited for it? Are you more excited for that than you are Superman? I don't know. It's a
I'm
little
sure
weird.
there are people out there just because they do not like James Gunn, or they still have this boner for Zack Snyder, and they're not going to get off his dick. They're just going to ride it all the way to the end,
Or they could have a Marvel
which is
boner. We
fine.
don't know. Marvel's not
That's true.
Marvel's not put out anything great lately, so maybe this is a redemption arc. Okay, so we'll see.
I was gonna say my last thing, compared to the stuff that they have been releasing, and I don't count Deadpool in this. This is the best trailer I've seen in a while from them. So,
Which is funny, real quick. You talk about the good CGI as Johnny's going up there and he's falling, and the sun and everything's coming over the horizon. When we were discussing the CGI in the previous trailer about Superman and the not so super CG, I cut in that scene from Black Widow where she gets blown off the fucking tower or whatever.
yeah.
And dude, I could do that in DaVinci Resolve right now, and I'm not that skilled, right? I was like, that looks so terrible for a Marvel movie. But this one definitely looks like it's stepped it up there. Okay, so you know when to use it, and maybe when to just say,
It's
you know
not
what?
terrible, right? It's
Yeah.
not bad. That's the way I see it.
So, all right, guys, if you have made it with us this far, we appreciate it. Consider giving the video a like. He is just giving you a weird thumbs up, and I guess I'll put it right in between there. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any more of the videos. You can stop now, fucking. And because we got more coming up. We'll follow the Fantastic Four as well, but definitely going to be more backed onto the Superman, as you see both Mantis and I shirts here. There you go. Says he's just not going to show it after I fucking said it, make me look like a weirdo. Thanks. And then clicking the little bell notification so you get alerted to the videos and stuff. And then comment. Let us know. Let us know what you think. And maybe if you just, I don't know, sometimes I feel like you guys don't respond as well. I know it's a channel called You, Me, and DC, but some of you don't respond as well to the Marvel content. Maybe you just don't want to see Marvel content on here anymore. Let us know that too, because we need, we want, critique.
Yeah, let us know.
So, all right, guys, Mantis, unless you have anything else.
No.
That is going to wrap it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.